Yes, very good morning to one and all.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you all?
All right, sir.
All right, good. So, well, still any doubts on CAT 2 question paper? If you have no doubts, then we will continue the topics of MIT 2001 Statistics for Engineers. So far, we covered the introductory aspects of statistics, like what is mean, median, mode. Okay, the central measures, followed measures of variation, and then kurtosis and skewness we discussed in the first module, very first module. So in the second module, we learned different probability distributions, such as probability mass function and probability density function for function of single variable, and then joint probability mass functions, joint distribution functions for joint densities, conditional distributions, expectations, and so on. We learned in the second module, right? So in third module, you understood how to find an appropriate relationship between the dependent variable and the independent variable using the regression technique. Then you also learned in third module how to find the correlation, rank correlation, and multilinear regression, and so on. Whereas in the fourth module, you all understood the difference between the discrete distributions and the continuous distributions, and you understood very well what is binomial and Poisson distributions. Then under continuous case, you learn normal distribution, gamma, and exponential distributions. Any doubts on these topics before moving into the next topic of the module? Any doubts? Those who have the doubts, raise the hand signal quickly so that I can clarify your doubts, and then we move on to the next module. Okay. It seems that as there are no hands raised, so you don't have doubts on those topics. Okay. So first four modules completed. We have three more modules. One is testing of hypothesis that is based on large sample test. The next one, small sample test, sixth module. Okay. Of course, the module named as testing of hypothesis 1, but I just relabeled it as large sample tests, because this module is diverting into the large samples. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, we need to understand what is population and what is sample. Then we can come to know that what is large sample, what is small sample. Of course, the term population we are using right from the first module onwards. Do you remember what is population? Hello? Any one of you can answer what is population?
Sir, it's collection of samples. It's a large part.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can someone say what is population?
Sir, it's
Population
collection of samples.
collection of samples. Okay. Collection of samples, one answer. Okay. Any other answers? Neha said collection of samples is a population. Anybody else? Aishwarya, Parag, Bhavik, Paras Chawla, Riddhi, Adarsh, Anmol, and so on. Anybody? Okay, Neha, as you said, collection of samples. What is mean by sample then?
It's a small set of collection of items, sir.
Okay, so collection of items. Sample, you are almost right. As you said, collection of items. Then when it is a small set, okay. If you wanted to make it a population, how many such sets you need to add so that it becomes a population?
Sir, it's infinite.
Okay, right. So basically, the population is, in simple, the totality of observations which is observed from a random experiment or a general experiment. So what is basically population? The totality of observations which we are observed about a hypothetical parameter. Let us suppose in a class of 65 students, my population is now, if I'm going to look at the marks distribution of the students in Cat 1 of these 65 students, my 65 class strength would be population. Understood? The 65 observations we have about the marks distribution, right? That is one parameter I considered. Isn't it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So let us imagine that. So you are interested to collect certain samples of Maggi packets for quality control test. The company may be manufacturing or producing, as many as number of Maggi packets over a period. It is impractical to collect all those packets and send them to quality control center. It is impractical, right? What usually people will do is, at random, they will collect certain samples, certain packets that we call as a sample, and then they will send it for the quality control center. Based on the quality control center report, they will recommend for supply of the product into the public. Otherwise, they need to change the formula of preparation, and according to the, once it meets according to the standards of Food Corporation of India, then only the packets will be launched. But very recently, Nestle company, what they are producing, like chocolates, Maggi noodles, and so on, several food packets. Their internal auditing committee itself, it has come to news, but how far it is genuine, we do not know. That 80% of above what the products they are producing have a lot of effects on the human being, side effects. If the people are using in the long run of their food products. This is what one study, their internal committee studies supported. Of course, they are keep on changing their standards, but still, as it is chemically processed, it may harm to the human health. We should all very careful about the kind of things. Okay. So the very first point we learned, population. What is population? Basically, the totality of observations which we are concerned about a particular population parameter, in simple. Right. So then what is sample? A sample is the subset of a population which is supposed to finite, In simple, a finite subset of a population is referred to a sample. Okay. So we need to understand certain terminologies. So in this module, we are going to learn how do we test a single sample data with the help of z-test, which is based on the normal distribution in the presence of the population means. Similarly, how do we test the difference between two samples with the help of z-test? That is the next point, and so on. If you have sometimes instead of means, you may have the proportion. And in the case of proportion and the data is related to the single sample, how do we test it? The data. Similarly, the difference of proportions. In general, these are the 4 different topics in this module, and the key terminologies are: one is population. You understood what is population now. You understood what is sample. As I said, a finite subset of population is referred to a sample. Let us suppose population is denoted by the cardinality of the population is denoted by capital N, and as I said, finite subset of population is the sample, and sample size is denoted by N. Then capital N is the population size, little n is the sample size. Now, in how many ways that sample can be picked with a size little n from the population of size capital N?
Capital N, C, little n.
Right, 100% correct. Okay. So among those NCN combinations, so do you think that all the NCN combination would result same mean value?
No, sir.
No. So that means, is the results will differ sample to sample from the same population? Is there chances?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is one point. Now, when you are going to look at the sample instead of a whole population, so that itself cause certain amount of error in the resulting answers or in the estimation process, isn't it? Right?
Sir, could you tell once again?
So in the study, you are going to consider a sample instead of the whole population. So as the sample is a finite set of the population, so considering of a finite sample from the population itself leads certain amount of error in the measurements. Do you agree this?
Yes, sir.
In the calculations or in the measurements? Okay. Such an error we may call as sampling error. What we call such an error?
Sampling error.
Sampling error. Okay. Then, with respect to each sample, there are certain observed distribution of data points. Such distribution we call as a sampling distribution. The distribution of values with respect to each sample we call as a sampling distribution in simple. On the other side, sampling error or the estimation error is the error caused by observing a sample instead of the whole population. This is what I said. This sampling error may decrease when the size of the sample increases. Similarly, the sampling error may increase likely when the sample size decreases. Okay, and this sampling distribution, the set of all values of the statistics with respect to the sample constitutes a sampling distribution. This standard deviation of this sampling distribution is referred to be a standard error. Okay, and test of significance. So hereafter we are going to enter into what is hypothesis and so on. So this is the one point which is very interesting. Why do we need to look at the significance, tests of significance? Why do we need to test the samples which is produced by a manufacturer or a company and so on? What is the reason that we need to test the items? Why do we need to check for the quality checkup? Hello? See that nowadays they are giving different combination of vaccinations like to curb the COVID-19, like something like Covishield, Covaxin, and so on, Sputnik V, and so on, right? Hello? Whether all these vaccinations are equally effective on all the age groups of human beings? Hello? Am I audible to you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I am audible, let us suppose there are 3 or 4 vaccinations. Imagine that one is Covaxin, next one is Covishield, and let us suppose Sputnik. Let us assume there are 3 vaccines as of now, which they are giving us in India. Whether all these 3 vaccines are having equal effect on all the age groups of the human beings in India?
No, sir.
So, who said no?
Sir, Aman.
Aman said no. Okay. What is the evidence that to say that it is no? Aman?
Sir, we checked
Huh.
a particular vaccine on different age groups of people, and then we can say.
Yeah, that's what. So we haven't tested. Do you have any evidence of statistical information that they have tested all these 4 vaccination or 3 vaccines on different age groups and different parameters which are influencing to that a body which is influencing to the with respect to several parameters of the given vaccination? All of them are equally influential or something like that in the studies, in the research studies. Is it showing or any database such is available to say in support of your claim or your validation?
Sir, I don't
So if
know.
it is not available, there are 2 things. One is, so intuitively you may say that all 3 vaccines may not be equally effective. Remember, isn't it? But how far we can prove that they are significantly differ, that is very, very important. So somebody may claim certain things. If you wanted to support the claim of somebody's or oppose the somebody's claim, you need to show it, scientifically or statistically, right?
Yes, sir.
So that is very, very important point. Okay. So now in terms of statistics, we are going to either support or reject the claim of the manufacturer or the producer or the one who made the claims through statistically. Okay. So in this process, the very important thing is the size of the sample. So usually, if the size of the sample is supposed to observed as 30 or more, it is treated as a large sample. Now, which samples comes under large sample? The samples whose size is 30 or more usually considered as large samples. Okay. And the
Yes,
samples whose size is below 30 usually considered as small sample. So with respect to the small samples, we have the next module. Okay. Whereas now we are going to focus on large samples. This module completely devotes on the large samples. Okay. Now, as I said, the significance, we need to look at what hypothetical parameters which you are going to study or you are going to send it for quality control center. With what objective you are sending it for the quality control center. Okay. We should not come with pre-assumed decision or the our perceived decision without any statistical evidence. Remember. Okay. So we may have some doubts that 3 vaccines may not be equally effective on all the age groups of human beings. So we are suspecting that. When we are suspecting, we need to experiment, and the experimental results statistically analyzed and then provide your inference on the output of the results. Okay. Understood, my dear students?
Yes, sir.
So this is very,
Yes,
very
sir.
important, very, very important. Whereas if we conclude our own perceived decision or assumed decision, then it may leads to a lot of problems. Nowadays, a lot of gossips are going on without their scientific knowledge in that, isn't it? Or statistical output, right? Hello. Yeah. So right, so due to the time, I need not discuss much. So now hypothetical parameters. So let me look at, so what kind of hypothetical parameters that we can consider for the study. Can you give certain examples of that? Hello, can anyone quote certain examples? You may be purchasing a branded soap, your own branded soap, nearby your store. When you are purchasing, the manufacturer may be given certain specification on the soap, in particular the net weight, one of the specification. While purchasing the soap, have you ever checked the net weight of the soap is really following the specification mentioned by the manufacturer? My dear students?
No, sir.
Okay. Whereas as many as you may involved in purchasing the ornaments or the gold and the precious metals, when you are purchasing the metal, there may be labeling tag that it is this much of grams, and this much of price or something like that. So if there is a labeling tag for that, without checking the weight, whether you are purchasing straight away that by just looking at the label, particularly when you are purchasing precious metals.
No, sir.
So why? Whereas you are when you are purchasing the soap, you are not bothering of the net weight of the soap, whereas you are worrying in while purchasing in the precious metals. What is the reason? Its value makes a difference, right? Isn't it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So because the soap is let us suppose 35 to 50 rupees of range, whereas the 1 gram of gold is supposed to be 4,000 to 5,000, right? So if 5 grams of soap is there is a difference for 5 grams. If 100 grams of soap is 50 rupees for 5 grams, then how much it is? 2.5 rupee, right? Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So you are not bothering of 1 or 2 rupees of difference when you are purchasing a soap of 100 grams, whereas if similar difference is noticed in the ornament, for 1 gram the difference is supposed to be, you are going to purchase for 50 grams of something like necklace kind of chain, okay, or some ornament, then if 5% of difference is there in the measurement, what will happen? For every 100 grams, 5 grams goes 5 into 4,000, let us imagine 20,000 rupees makes difference. It is a high value in the difference, right?
Yes, sir.
So you will be very cautious there. Now depends on the value of the product. Sometimes you may be neglecting certain amount of error in the measurement. Let us imagine while purchasing the soap, the 5% of difference you may be neglected, or 1% of difference you may be neglecting. Whereas in the case of purchasing the ornament, for every 100 grams, even if 1% of error you are allowing, 1 gram is cost about 4,500 approximately, then you are not allowing that 1%, you are going to reduce your level of allowing the error percentage, that we call as level of significance. Okay. How much error you are allowing in the calculations or in the process of observing the samples from the population or in the measurement is referring to the level of significance. Okay. Right? Understood what is level of significance? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, as I said, hypothetical parameters. So there are different examples like manufacturer may producing soaps. Manufacturers may producing not only the soaps, they may produce laptops. They may produce so many varieties of items. Okay. So on each item, let us suppose washing machine you take. So they used to give 10 years of warranty period on the washing machine on an average, right? Particularly they used to give on the compressor or related equipment for 10 years of warranty period, right? So but after the usage of the customers, you will come to know that all the products what the company produce really 10 years or above, they survived, or any of the items failed before the 10 years. You need to study that, right? So that is in that case the average is playing important role. Means sometimes when you look at the opinions, like how many of you having the ebook of statistics for engineers related textbook. Some of you may say that I have e-textbook. Some of you are saying that I don't have e-textbook. Then I will come to know the proportion of out of 65, how many students have the e-copy of the text. So let us suppose that maybe something like 65% of you may have the ebook, then that is referring to the proportion. Sometimes people may go for opinion poll. Out of 100, maybe something like 70 people are favoring to the particular party. That is also related to the opinion or the proportion. Out of 100, 70 are favoring to a particular party. So it is 70% of people favoring to a particular party, referring proportion. Now this module is mainly focusing on the proportions related test and the sampling related test, that means related test. Okay, so let me look at what is hypothesis. Hypothesis is basically a definite statement about certain population parameter. So the hypothesis we classified as two categories. One is null hypothesis and the other one is alternative hypothesis. So usually the null hypothesis, we use the phrase like there is no significant difference between the specified parameters and denoted by H naught. The alternative hypothesis is the complement of the null hypothesis, which is denoted by H1. So there are three possible combinations of alternative hypothesis which are when you consider the null hypothesis as mu is equal to mu naught. If null hypothesis mu is equal to mu naught is considered, so there is a chance that mu can be not equal to mu naught is one type of alternative hypothesis. If you consider this H1 as mu is not equal to mu naught, it is called as a two-tailed alternative hypothesis. Whereas if H1 you consider as mu is greater than mu naught, then it is called as a right or upper tailed alternative hypothesis. And other combination is H1, that is mu is less than mu naught. We call it as a left tailed or a lower tailed alternative hypothesis. So then what is the region of rejection or the critical region? Suppose you are going to draw one normal car and the region where you are going to reject this null hypothesis is called the critical region. That means in simple, the region of rejection is called the critical region. Okay, for an upper tail test, if observed value of test statistic is greater than the critical value, we are going to reject the null hypothesis. Remember, for an upper tail test, if the observed value of test statistic is greater than the critical value, we are going to reject null hypothesis. For a lower tail test, if the observed value is of the test statistic is less than the critical value, then you are going to reject the null hypothesis. For two tail test, if the absolute observed value of test statistic is greater than the critical value, then you are going to reject the null hypothesis. So these points you need to keep in mind. As I earlier said, the level of significance. The level of significance is the amount of error which we allow in our calculations or the computations. So it is the probability below which that we reject the null hypothesis or the hypothesis, normally denoted by alpha. So type 1 and type 2 errors. So these are the two major errors which one commits in general. As a statistical quality control center, as a decision maker, sometimes if the decision maker is supposed to be biased, then there are chances of happening the type 1 or type 2 error sometimes. So what is type 1 error? Let us suppose the decision maker who is going to reject the null hypothesis even though it is correct. Remember, we are going to reject the null hypothesis although it is correct. Then who will be under risk? Manufacturer says something, his claim is correct, but we are rejecting his claim. Who will be under risk? Hello? Hello? Anybody there? Neha?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here manufacturer claims something. His claim may be true, but we are rejecting his claim. Then who will be under risk? Hello. Rejecting the hypothesis when it is correct is known as type 1 error, or it is also called as the producer's risk or the manufacturer's risk. Okay. Whereas sometimes the manufacturer's claim may not be correct, but still the decision maker may accept his claim. Then who will be under risk?
Sir, who consumes that product, they'll
Definitely.
be
That
under
means
risk.
customer, right?
Yes, sir.
Consumers, right? Consumers will be under risk. So type 2 case, consumers will be under risk. Under type 1, producer will be under risk. Okay. Then what is the confidence level or the confidence interval? 100 into 1 minus alpha percentage. 100 into 1 minus alpha percentage. Alpha is the level of significance. 100 into 1 minus alpha percentage will be the confidence interval. In order to estimate the population mean with the known sample mean x bar and the population variance sigma square is given by x bar minus z alpha by 2 times sigma by root over n is less than mu is less than x bar plus z alpha by 2 times sigma by root n. This is for a two-tailed case. Okay. Now there is a p-value in 1-2 slides I would like to end up. There is a p-value called a p-value is the lowest level at which the observed value of the test statistic is supposed to be significant. Okay, if p-value is as much as above the 0.1, we do accept. We can say that there is no evidence against the null hypothesis H0, and the data appear is consistent with respect to the given null hypothesis. Whereas if the p-value lies in between 0.05 to 0.1, there is a weak evidence against the null hypothesis, and similar weak evidence will be there in favor of H1. If p is between 0.01 and 0.05, then we say that there is a moderate evidence against H0 and in favor of H1. If p is between 0.001 to 0.01, then we say that there is a strong evidence against the null hypothesis and in favor of H1. And p is much smaller than 0.001, smaller or much smaller than 0.001, there is a very strong evidence against the null hypothesis. So this classification you just keep in mind is enough. Then what are the steps involved in testing of hypothesis? So these few points are very, very important. So here after 6th module, 5th and 6th module, each and every problem involves only these steps. How many steps are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 steps. Each and every problem involves these 8 steps. One is you need to state very clearly what is the null hypothesis for a given problem. And then you need to write down the appropriate alternative hypothesis with respect to the given null hypothesis. And then you need to choose a valid level of significance to test the hypothesis. And then followed, you need to identify the region where you are going to reject the null hypothesis, that is called a critical region or the rejection region. And then very, very important point is that you have to pick the right test statistic in order to test the null hypothesis. And then finally, after picking up the appropriate test statistic, you are going to calculate the values of test statistics and then start compare the observed value of the test statistic with the reference value of the test distribution, that is called as a critical value. So after a comparison, you need to look at whether the observed value of the test statistic is lower than the critical value or greater than the critical value as earlier discussed, like this case. Okay. So accordingly, you can accept or reject the null hypothesis. Once you accept or reject the null hypothesis, then accordingly you can draw the conclusions with respect to the given problem. This is related to the conclusions. So these are various statistic formulas involved in this testing of hypothesis. This is for proportions related, difference of proportion, means. Okay. You take a snapshot of this slide. This slide is going to help you even to answer the, what is that, digital assignment 2 questions, question number 4 and 5 also. Have you taken a snapshot? Of course, this may be uploaded even for your reference. Then don't worry for this thing. And similarly, now I would like to show this example and stop the discussion. Z-test on a single sample mean. To test the hypothetical statement about a single sampled mean in the presence of population standard deviation or the variance sigma. Variance is sigma square, standard deviation is sigma. A test statistic is given by z is equal to x bar minus mu by sigma by under root n, where x bar is the sample mean, mu is the population mean, sigma is the standard deviation, n is the sample size. Okay, right? So this is the formula that we are going to use to test the difference of means. Z-test on difference of means to test the hypothetical statement about the difference of two sample means in the presence of population variances. We are going to use this formula. Z is equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar minus mu1 minus mu2 divided by under root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2, where x1 and x2 are the sample means, mu1 and mu2 are the population means, sigma 1 and sigma 2 are the population standard deviations, n1 and n2 are the sample sizes. Okay. So this is the Z-test on a single sample proportion. To test the hypothetical statement about a single sample proportion, a test statistic is given by z is equal to little p minus p naught divided by under root of p naught q naught by n. Little p is the sample proportion, p naught is the population proportion, q naught is the complement of population proportion, and n is the sample size. So this is the Z-test on difference of proportions. The test statistic formula is p little p1 minus p2 minus capital P1 minus capital P2 divided by under root of P1 Q1 by N1 plus P2 Q2 by N2. This is in the presence of population proportions. Okay, where little pi's are sample proportions and capital Pi's are population proportions and capital Qi's are the complement of capital Pi's and ni's are the sample sizes. Another formula, so Z-test on difference of proportion to test the hypothetical statement in the absence of population proportions P1 and P2, we can use this Z-test where Z is equal to P1 minus P2 minus capital P1 minus capital P2 divided by under root of P into Q whole into 1 by N1 plus 1 by N2. So now I showed 5 formulas. One is this one. Okay. The previous one, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These are the only 5 formulas which we are going to use in this module. Okay. So you keep in mind. In the next class, that is tomorrow's class, we are going to discuss the examples involved in this testing of hypothesis. Okay, right? Till this point, I will upload for your reference. You go through it. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
Okay, sir.
The general doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Can I end the session? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Right.